Chapter 3. After another 2 hours or so of slow riding through narrow, crowded city streets, Bach entered the sparkling center of Ithanel. There, at the heart of the metropolis, was the royal palace. Bach first realized he must be close to the palace when the streets shifted from cobblestone to red brick, which gleamed from a fresh scrubbing. Glittering mansions, set far back from the road, lined both sides of the oak-shaded street. The brick road dead-ended at a 15-foot high security wall made of granite blocks and reinforced by iron bars. Bach gripped Princess Isabella's scroll in a shaking hand and took a deep breath. I doubt a peasant from the rural fringes of the kingdom is welcomed at the front door, no matter what official scroll I've got. So he went around back to the service entrance. Peering through the cast-iron gate, he saw a small section of the sprawling royal gardens. The perfectly manicured shrubbery formed a pathway through rose bushes and a kaleidoscope of bright colors snaking up tall trellises. Neatly hedged boxes of zinnias, irises, and hydrangeas grew to the sides of the shrub-lined pathway. Bach could see as many butterflies and birds as flowers, too. He could putter in those gardens for days, putting his knowledge of folk magic to use. But he came here for a different type of business. Bach approached the gate and straightened his loose-fitting shirt, then handed his official summons to the two royal guardians standing watch. The woman and man served in the royal guard, Imerina's small military force that guarded the palace as well as the royal family when they ventured out of the castle. They were distinguished by their dark blue, red-trimmed coats and hats. The male guardian shook his head and handed the summons back to Bach.
No, this won't work. Turn around and go back.
But the summons says I am to be here today, and it is signed by none other than the princess herself. Just as I feared. Because I am the serving class, they assume I'm lying. The second guard rolled her eyes.
Sure she did. You are, what, the new candidate for emissary of commerce? What exactly is your business with the princess?
The first guard took an aggressive step toward Bach. I don't know. Bach's heart rate raced. His pulse throbbed in his neck. I received the summons, but I have no idea what this is all about.
Come with me to Commander Corrigan's office while we sort all this out. We can't have a strange man out here looking for Her Majesty.
Both guards grabbed Bach's arms. The energy drained out of his body. He dared not resist two armed officers of the royal palace if he had any hopes of seeing his family again. But I didn't do anything wrong. I just reported here, as I was commanded to do. Bach's breathing sped up. They aren't listening. To them, I'm a peasant, not a person. In Imerina, one's parentage determined social status for life. It didn't matter how much the Omot family's neighbors respected them. They would always be serving class. The guards jerked Bach away from the gate, but before they could take 2 steps into the palace proper, a voice behind Bach froze him in place.
He's telling the truth, Corporal. Lord Emerini!
The royal guards bowed, then snapped to attention. Bach turned to face a tall, brightly smiling man his own age. Lord Amerino was slender to the point of skinny and a head taller than Bach. A longbow and a quiver of arrows hung casually over the man's shoulder, and his curly black hair drooped low past his shoulders. Bach recognized the name. The Amerino Mercantile Company was Imerina's largest trading company. Their ships and caravans traveled all over the known world, sending goods abroad and bringing treasures back home. Bach had heard it said that, save for the royal family, the Amerino clan was the wealthiest family in the nation. Even if Bach hadn't known the man by reputation, the young man's bright blue silk shirt and eel-skin boots marked him as a man of the noble class. Aventil waved off the guardian and continued to smile.
No worries. We appreciate your diligence, but the princess did summon this man, and for good reason.
He clapped the shorter Bach on the shoulder.
I bet you could use a square meal and a cold pint in your journey.
That was the best offer Bach had heard since he arrived in the city. Having finished the last of his mother's griddle bread at breakfast, he feared he would have to spend a few of his precious coppers on a meal. Bach couldn't meet the noble's eyes, but returned his smile. That sounds wonderful, sir. But first I must tend to my horse. Is there somewhere nearby I can stable her? Aventil waved over one of the numerous palace attendants roaming the grounds inside the palace gates. You, young lady, I would appreciate you taking my friend's horse to the visitor's stables. She's tired from a long trip, so make sure she gets a good brushing and an extra treat along with her dinner. He then pressed something into the palm of the young woman's hand. Oh, I will, sir. And, sir? She looked at Bach. Please let us know when you need your horse, and it will be our pleasure to retrieve her for you. Um, okay. Thanks. Sir? Our pleasure to retrieve her? This must be the treatment life affords those born into the noble class. Normally, Bach would have made it clear to the attendant that, like her, he was just a member of the serving class, not a lord like Aventil. But given how tired he was and how exhausted he knew Becky to be, he thought it best to just remain silent. His horse could use some extra kindness, and so could he. As a woman gently coaxed Becky by the reins down a long, brick-paved path, she flipped the object Aventil had palmed her into the air. A silver! Aventil's tip is more money than we could scrape together for this once-in-his-life journey. A blush rose to Bach's face, and he bowed his head. Thank you, Lord Aventil. I don't know how you know of me or my intentions here, but I appreciate your help. First of all, it's just Aventil. I grew bored with formalities long ago, as my exasperated parents will tell you. I heard you were coming because I'm going to be in the same briefing tomorrow. Goodness knows I have plenty of free time on my hands, so I thought I'd come greet you in person. Aventil lifted a lone finger in the air and grinned. Oh, and because I promised my girlfriend I'd get you settled. What Princess Isabella wants, she gets. Bach's jaw fell open. I see. His girlfriend is Princess Isabella herself? Bach searched his brain for the right way to respond and came up with nothing. Thankfully, Aventil filled in the awkward gap. Have you spent much time in our grand city of Ithanel? Well, actually, this is my first visit. Bach looked down at his scuffed work boots. At any moment he will realize I am a simpleton from Sola Valley and concoct a polite yet convenient excuse as to why his attention is suddenly needed elsewhere. But Aventil just threw his arms in the air. Well, that's great! It means I get to share all my stories. Everyone else in Ithanel has listened to me tell those tales 1,000 times, and they are sick of them. But now you, Barkomat, get the pleasure of hearing them for the first time. He put his arm around Bach's shoulder and gestured toward the grand 4-story marble structure in front of them. The royal palace is the official residence of King Isbiano and Princess Isabella, but it also serves as a practical center of the Imarinian government. You'll get to meet the emissaries tomorrow. Every one of them is an insufferable gas bag. Probably why the rest of the country thinks we're all like that in the noble class. But don't let them intimidate you, Bach. They are all bluster and little brain. Aventil stuck his index finger in the air. There is one particular emissary that you need to watch out for. Emissary Lororian leads the House of Magic, and she is as savvy as the rest are foolish. As you probably know, the House of Magic governs the practice of high magic in Imarina. That gives them tremendous power, and Lororian isn't afraid to remind the Royal Council of it. He cocked his head to the side as Bach listened. Don't get me wrong. She's a loyal subject of the crown, but she's got a way of getting her way, and she's blunt about doing it. As they walked, Aventil continued his impromptu tour of the royal palace's facilities. The palace had numerous entryways beyond the main entrance used for ceremonial affairs, twin mahogany doors at the top of a grand white marble staircase. Several side doors seemed to constantly open and close to allow a veritable army of attendants, advisors, and nobility to move to and from the palace. It's like an anthill where the ants wear nicely tailored clothing. Evantil took Bach through one of these side doors, then down a hall and through two swinging doors into a bustling dining room. Tables of various sizes filled the hardwood floor. 4 large rectangular tables for up to 8 were in the center, with 4 square ones for 4 on each side. Unlike the lone tavern in Sola Valley, the tables were stained and varnished, and patrons sat in matching chairs, not on rough-hewn benches. Most of the tables were in use by women and men wearing tailored clothes of fine materials, the type of clothing members of the noble class wore when conducting official business. Many patrons came with leather satchels stuffed with papers and books. Servants half sprinted through the double doors in the back of the hall to keep their plates and cups full. This isn't the main dining hall, but it's quieter and the servants are friendly, Aventil explained, almost apologetically. 2 dining hall attendants scrambled from their post to seat Aventil and his companion at a side table by the room's large panel window. A woman whom Bach assumed was the dining hall's manager, given the deference shown her by the other staff members, walked over as soon as she spotted Aventil. Lord Amarinil, always a pleasure. She clapped her hands, which brought her staff members running to her side. Please, seat our guests anywhere they like. Thank you. Anywhere will be fine. You know I'm not picky. Oh, and we'll have the usual, please. Within moments, a roasted chicken and bowls of steaming vegetables appeared on the table, along with a chilled carafe and 2 pewter flagons engraved with the Inishari family crest, a raven under a capital I. Aventil thanked each of them and, as he had done earlier at the guard post, slipped each of the attendants a silver with an inconspicuous handshake. Drink up! Aventil poured the amber drink into Bach's flagon. They'll bring out another pitcher if we finish this one. Bach sniffed, then sipped the drink. The sweet aroma and flavor of honey tickled his nose and tongue. It's mead, my friend, made with honey from the king's apiary. I come to this spot every day, and they know what I like here. Bach understood why the noble class liked this drink so much. He took a deeper swig and savored its sweet taste. Meanwhile, Aventil gnawed ravenously on a chicken leg. So, you are from Sola Valley. I've been through there a few times. Beautiful country. Do your people farm? Yes. No. Well, kind of. Somehow Bach couldn't help stumbling on his words. I mean, my sister and father are the community blacksmiths. That's what they do. But we live on a small farm that my mother runs. Only as much land as much as we're allowed to own. There it is, the unspoken truth said out loud. I am serving class. Bach exhaled and studied Aventil's face for a reaction. But the young noble appeared more interested in the dinner conversation than in any class differences. And you're a healer? How did you get into that? Bach tilted his head back against the padded seat. It wasn't by a grand design. Winnie Khan, my mentor, served as community healer all throughout my childhood. I did well in school, and when I finished, she came to me and asked if I wanted to apprentice under her. I realized my options were to be a healer, get a job farming someone else's land, or be the 3rd best blacksmith in my own house. So it wasn't a tough choice. Aventil chuckled at that line through a mouthful of bread. Bach continued, feeling relaxed enough to cut a small piece of bread for himself. The aroma made his mouth water. So far, it's been going well. Folk magic just makes sense to me. Winnie said she knew I had the acumen for folk magic, and that's why she picked me to be her student. I'm glad she did. And I'm glad too, by the Exalted One, because we need your skills. Bach bit the inside of his cheek. What do you mean? Ithanel is the center of high magic in the kingdom, the home of the vaunted House of Magic. Surely those trained sorcerers are better equipped to handle any problem than a country healer with 6 months of experience. Aventil looked around the tavern, then leaned across the table to whisper, Have you heard of whole fields of crops just withering into dust in seconds? Bach rested his chin on his hand. Like a flash fire? Such things do happen in the summer. A dry spell followed by an ill-placed lightning strike, and a whole farm goes up in flames. Like that, except there wasn't any lightning. It was a clear night. Aventil helped himself to a refill of mead. Just whoosh. A farm was there, and then it wasn't. The trees, the house, even the family. It's all ash now. Bach froze when he heard this. Oso Creek was a farming community, just like the one he called home. If this could happen there, it also could happen in Sola Valley. My parents, Yata, and Noji are all in danger if something like this was happening. Seeing the faraway look in Bach's face, Aventil met Bach's eyes. I didn't believe when I first heard about it a few days ago either. I'm still not sure I do. All I know is a whole village packed up and came here from Osa Creek, asking their king for protection. I don't know what they saw, but it frightened them to the core. Nothing Bach had ever seen in a lifetime of living in a farming community could cause such a calamity. He also wondered what he would do to help. Folk magic was used by serving class healers to heal, cure, and protect. It could not be used as a weapon. On the other hand, high magic, the type which only could be employed by nobles born with the acumen to use it, contained the power to create or destroy. This business sounded like high magic to Bach, not anything he could counter. And surely there were folk magic healers here in Ithanel, if that's what the princess needed. So why did she ask for me? Aventil shook his head. I do not know, but she asked for you by name. I was there when she dictated the summons. Believe me, Isabella chose you for a reason. Bach rubbed the dark beard on his chin. I don't know what I can do. But whatever you and the princess need, I am happy to help. I'm glad to hear that, and I know she will be too. Aventil's familiar smile returned, and he refilled Bach's flagon. Enough unpleasantry. We will sort this mess out tomorrow in Royal Council chambers. Let's get back to you. Tell me, is there a young lady or gentleman back in Sola Valley, sitting on their door stoop waiting for your return? Bach snorted. Ha! You sound like my mother. She's been trying to marry me off since I became a healer. Avanti's grim story of the refugees and the strange incident in Nassim still ran through his mind. But as his new friend said, there was little they could do before the morning. No, I suppose I haven't met the right person yet. Besides, any woman I bring home must meet my sister Yata's approval, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone's daughter. Aventil draped his arm over the back of his own seat, grinning like a mischievous child. This Yata, she's tough, I take it. She swings a hammer to feed her family. So, yes, I'd say she's tough. Mead spewed from Aventil's mouth at Bach's colorful description of his sister. She thrashed me plenty when we were children. Believe me, I'm more suited to healing sick crops or sick children. Yata can handle the fighting for the Omak clan. Still laughing, Aventil wiped his mouth with a linen napkin. Sounds like some of the women I've known. Except, thank the Exalted One, they didn't own a hammer, or they probably would have swung it at my head. Well, I doubt you have to worry about that with the princess. I hope I'm not overstepping my place, but Aventil doesn't mind talking about his romance with our queen-in-waiting. No, not Isabella. I can't wait for you to meet her tomorrow, Bok. Now it was Aventil's turn to wear a faraway look. She's incredible, as you'll see. Isabella is scheduled to become queen in 5 years, and she has such plans for Imarina. Bok fidgeted with his silverware, made of actual silver, not like the iron versions his sister and father crafted back at home. I'm sure she is amazing. I just hope her vaunted reputation for kindness is deserved, too. The stories do not tell the half of it, Bok. This isn't common knowledge, but Isabella has the acumen for high magic. She is being trained as a sorcerer by a private tutor, outside of the House of Magic. The princess is a sorcerer? Bok looked around the upscale tavern, realizing that despite being the poorest person in the room, he was now one of the members of a privileged club. But she certainly is of noble blood, and I've always heard talk of her intellect. I suppose she is as incredible as you say. Aventil tossed the napkin down on the table. Oh, no. Do not misunderstand. Isabella does not make things easy for me. The first time she met my family, she visited our estate. Our chef worked all day preparing the finest roast you've ever tasted. We sit down and look to Isabella, who quietly informs me that she doesn't eat meat. At all? Around the Oma table, and those of his neighbors, meat was a once-per-week treat. He and Yata practically wrestled over chicken legs when they were children. At all. Now, she was so embarrassed, thinking she had ruined the meal. But my parents blamed me. They thought I had insulted the royal family. I suppose I should have noticed she never ate meat, but I thought she just fancied fruit and bread. He tapped a nearly empty ceramic serving bowl. Speaking of which, how are the palace's offerings? To be honest, nothing short of fantastic. That wasn't a polite lie. Bok had tasted flavors he never knew existed in his palate. Had he not been so nervous at first, he probably would have eaten nearly as much as Aventil. Glad to hear it. The noble set his empty cup down and gestured to the rear of the establishment. Excuse me for a second. I'll be right back. As soon as Aventil walked into the privy at the back of the tavern, a middle-aged woman on the serving staff tiptoed over to Bok's seat. How'd you do it? I mean, I'm glad you did, but how? She half whispered, half giggled. What do you mean? I'm here with... Don't worry, you're fine. It's not like we ask you for your parents' names before we let you eat here. And besides, you're here with Lord Amarinil. But you're one of us, right? Bok understood. Imarina's laws didn't prohibit the serving class from fancy establishments like this tavern, but no one in his social strata had the coin to dine in a place as fine as this. I honestly don't know, he said. I've been asked to be here and Aventil, Lord Amarinil, is my host. I wish I could explain. Darling, enjoy it as much as you can for as long as it lasts. The attendant left Bok to return to his meal and his thoughts. The rest of the meal passed with easy laughter and leisurely conversation. After Aventil took his third helping, Bok couldn't resist. He reached for a second piece of chicken, perfectly seasoned with rosemary and salt. Need anything else, Bok? If so, I'll get someone to bring it over. Oh, no, thank you. I don't want to be sick before my first royal council meeting. He stretched his arms back. satiated by the rich food. Aventil waved at an older gentleman in a tailored robe who was leaving the tavern. Bach assumed the man, who returned Aventil's greeting, was a noble of some sort. "Does your family live here at the palace, Aventil? You sure seem to know everything about it and everyone in it." "No, our family has a home just across the other side of the wall," Aventil replied between bites of chicken. "But I spend plenty of time here and know my way around. My parents, they aren't in Ithanel much these days." The lanky young man stared out the window into the courtyard. "They left 6 weeks ago for a voyage around the Balan Cape. In another month or so, their flagship, along with 5 other Amaranil Mercantile Company vessels, will load a shipment of sugar, rugs, spices, all the things a noble class here in Imarina will pay in gold to have. I won't see them again before summer's end." Bach rolled his eyes. "I'm surprised your parents didn't make you go with them. Even now, at my age, I half expected mine to stow themselves in my saddlebags." Aventil got quiet for the first time since the two men sat down. "Actually, Bach, my older sister and brother went, but I wasn't invited. I'm never asked to go on these trips, not since I was 14 summers." He took a sip from his mead flagon and got quiet for a moment before he continued. "I probably wouldn't want to go, knowing it would mean leaving the palace. But it would be nice if they asked." Aventil set his glass down and resumed smiling. This time, though, Bach realized his expression, at least in part, was a mask. "By the Exalted One, why am I saying this? I'm sorry to make you uncomfortable, Bach. I should be telling all this to the barkeep. She gets paid to listen to rich layabouts moan and whine. I shouldn't weigh you down with my personal entanglements." Bach pointed to his own chest. "Me, the country boy in his one almost decent set of clothes who isn't sure which fork to use? You're worried that you are making me uncomfortable? Believe me, Aventil, you have been far and away the highlight of the strangest day I have ever lived." "Ha! I knew I liked you, Beaucomont." Aventil laughed. "You aren't looking to gain anything from me, be it money or access to the crown. Oh, and you laugh at my jokes." Aventil waved over one of the serving staff. "Excuse me, miss. What's for dessert tonight?"